both parties have to be happy. Just like when you're making an offer to a seller, it has to make sense for them for it to make sense for us, right? So both parties are agreeing to be happy and exchange of value, which is they're selling us a property at a discount and we're giving them a boatload of cash. We're not taking away a house for free. We're giving them a boatload of cash so that they can exit the deal with speed and convenience.
That's how you viewed marriage.
That's how you view marriage. And if you buy my 5-step process today, I will show you how to.
Hey everyone, I'm Burton and welcome to PropStream Pros, the podcast where we dive into the lives of real estate professionals who've made it. In each episode, we'll explore how they got started, challenges they faced, and the strategies that helped them succeed, so that you can learn from their journey and apply those insights to your own path. Whether you're just getting started or already building a portfolio, there's something here for everyone. So make sure to subscribe, follow, and join us as we talk to professionals who've made their own success.
On this episode of PropStream Pros, Burton sits down with real estate power couple Frank and Cecilia Tovar. They break down what it really takes to scale a wholesaling business together, from roles and systems to navigating marriage, money, and real estate under one roof.
Hey everyone, my name is Burton and welcome to another episode of PropStream Pros. Now, normally I would ask you guys to help me give a warm welcome to our special guest, but today I'm going to need 2 warm welcomes because I have a power couple in front of me. So ladies and gentlemen, please help me give 2 warm welcomes to Frank and Cecilia Tovar. How are you guys doing today? What's going on? Thanks for being here. I'm excited, but how are you guys doing this wonderful afternoon?
We're doing fantastic. We're very, very excited to have the opportunity to do this with you. So thank you for the invitation.
Oh, absolutely. I thank you for actually even being here. I think learning from a married couple in the space of real estate is important. It's a very high pressured environment. And, you know, in my experience in the real estate industry so far, 13 years with PropStream, I couldn't think of anybody else but you two on how you guys successfully maneuver through the pros and cons and the challenges. So thank you guys so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely our pleasure, man. We're here to share the love with you.
I love that. So, okay, let's get started. Let's start with, where do you guys currently operate? Are you guys in, what's the name of the business? Are you guys working on your own firm, a different firm? Where are we at today?
We work with Inspired Buyers, right? The owner is Michael Yanis, aka Mr. Hustle.
Hey.
Yeah, right. So there's a name drop. I'm the COO, really just the guy that gets everything done that needs to be done. So I run the wholesaling division, right? And then, of course, we have our education side, and then we have other arms to the business. And then Cecilia, of course, is highly integrated. At first, not by choice, and now she excels in her role. I say not by choice because her start to this whole journey was very interesting, and I'm very thankful that she took that journey with us because without her, we wouldn't have been able to scale to where we're at today.
That's amazing. Well, let's start with breaking down the roles. So, Frank, you told me a little bit. You're the CEO. Cecilia, the spotlight's on you. What is it that you do at Inspired Buyers?
So at Inspired Buyers, I'm the transaction coordinator. So as soon as a contract comes in, I make sure that I get it to the finish line. So anything anywhere between amendments, title commitment, any issues that rise along with our sellers, such as, people are deceased, any judgments, things like that. And make sure I get it to the closing table.
That's actually, thanks for summarizing that. I myself am not too truly familiar with the role or the task that a transaction coordinator encompasses. So thank you for clarifying that. Is it safe to say that there's no overlap when it comes to working together in the same space?
What do you mean by no overlap?
Meaning, are you guys, when it comes to like a specific client, you mentioned wholesaling, when you're dealing with that client, in this case, Frank, when you're working face to face, is Cecilia part of that, or does she come after the fact? Let's say once a contract is signed, that's handed over. I don't mess with it unless I need to. Is there any overlap when it comes to the roles that you guys are playing at Inspired Buyers?
So with Cecilia, yeah, there's plenty of overlap because obviously she's what's it called? She's a TC, transaction coordinator. It's not as simplified as she's making it sound to be, right? There's a lot more that goes into it. I love to trust my process, right? So we have a process here internally to where I'll still actively do a deal here and there. I lock it up and I just let her take on that role of a TC, and my job is really just to go find a next deal or empower the team enough to go find a next deal. But with her role specifically, yeah, there's definitely a lot of overlap because yeah, she's not only a TC, she's my spouse, right? So we have things that we're going to share. So she's my confidant. I think she's really my muse, if you really want to boil it down, because she inspires me to do a lot of crazy cool things. And so, it just helps. It just helps. Without her, we definitely wouldn't be in the position that we are today.
Oh, I love that. Very greatly worded there. Cecilia, let me ask you this as well. When it comes to that, working alongside with Frank, and obviously it looks like sometimes transactions might have a little bit of overlap. Here might be a tough question here, but has there ever come a time where you guys have disagreed on something? And how do you, well, this is a reality too, because again, I'm sure a lot of married couples are going to probably be listening to this or maybe thinking about venturing into business together. But how do you guys prevent that friction from overflowing to the dinner table, if you know what I mean, right? Because everything stays at the office. You guys might have your disagreements, but any tips or anything that you do so that it doesn't go into that overtime, essentially hit the dinner table?
Yes, there is a lot of disagreements. And we've kind of come to learn that we have to separate it, right? So we have work is work and home is home. And over time, I mean, we've been working together 6 years now that we've been sharing the space. And we've learned a lot to have patience with each other. And a really cool thing that we've kind of just come to be is whenever I'm venting or whenever something has happened and I just need to let it out, Frank says, okay, hold on. Do you need husband Frank or CEO Frank? And so we developed that over time. And now we're able to just, he just kind of puts that hat on for me and he kind of.
This is my response. When we disagree, I just do this.
Oh,
Nah,
okay.
yeah, right. I wish it was that simple. But yeah, she's 100% right, because at home I'm another version, right? And here it's cool. I'm technically the boss, if you want to call it that. I'm just a facilitator, if you will. My job is to make sure that she's empowered to do everything that she needs to do. Perform at an optimal level, right? Her along with the team. So yeah, of course I'm going to value her input, and of course there's friction, right? Because we're married and we're very passionate, one, about our marriage, but two, about the business, right? Because obviously if we don't agree and we don't move it forward, then we're not going to make money, right? That's why we're doing this. And so we got to be equally as passionate. So yeah.
I love that you guys mentioned you guys have been at this for about 6+ years. That's amazing. And I'll be honest with you, rarely do you see people go beyond a few years. But in this case, you guys have made it work for several years. If you guys don't mind me asking, how long have you guys been married so far?
I'll let Cecilia take on that one.
Oh, our anniversary is in May, and we'll be 9 years. 9 years married in May.
Yeah, 9 years in May together.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Long time, according to her. For me, it's
Very
like
long.
a blink of an eye, right? Fun story is that we got married exactly 1 year from the day that we met. We went on our first date, I'm sorry.
Really?
Yeah, so.
If you don't want me asking you, I'm going to put you on the spot now, Frank. What was that first date?
Oh, that's easy.
What was I wearing?
What were you wearing? I know exactly what you were wearing. I exactly know what you were wearing.
Yeah.
Because she has this little. Never mind. I won't. What? Nothing. I'm kidding. They don't know. So it was at a restaurant here in town. We'll go next time you're in town, Burton, to Rosario's Mexican restaurant. It was the first time I had in a long time chicken mole. If y'all know, y'all know. And then, so she had green enchiladas at that time. So again, I remember. And then afterwards, we went and hung out at the Hemisphere Park by the Tower of the Americas. So we were there. So I remember the first date very, very, very well. Our third date was New Orleans.
He didn't ask.
Wait, no. Actually, let's pivot there, because how do you go from first date something local to 2 days late, 2 dates later, third date, now we're in a different state. You just mentioned Texas there just a few moments ago. So how did we go from first date here, third date, we're in a whole different state now?
They say shoot or shoot. We have a saying here, right? Shoot or shoot. I didn't adopt that at that time, right? But I'd been wanting to go to New Orleans, and I thought, who better than to go with somebody I just recently met and that could possibly, kill me in my sleep. But it was all good.
I love that. Cecilia, I'm going to put you on the spot right now, okay? Well, and Frank, please don't take any offense to this, but what was your first date? Like this first date with this handsome man named Frank Tovar here. What was your first thought going into that restaurant together?
So my first thoughts, geez, I haven't thought about this in a long time. I don't know. It all seemed just very easy, and our conversations just kind of flowed. I don't think we had any like awkward silences. We were into a lot of the same things, so our conversations were just very, very easy, very flowy.
Oh man, I just got a warm feeling just hearing that. That's actually really cool. And Frank, thank you so much for even sending that invite, especially to a place that you guys have a lot of cherishable memories there. I'd love to one day hopefully come visit you guys at your favorite restaurant, your first date restaurant, and just carry on this conversation. But I'd like to time travel a little bit, if you don't mind. And in this case, before you guys met. You guys have been married, you said 9 years. Who was Frank, though, before Cecilia? If you could summarize, again, best moments, worst moments. My real reason asking this question is I like to kind of let the audience know, who were you before real estate showed up? And in this case, before this amazing woman next to you showed up as well. Who was Frank Tovar?
Yeah. So I preface this slightly. Cecilia is my second marriage, right? So I had a lot of mistakes. And I say this for the younger people out there, or at any age, is that before Cecilia, if you will, I was lost. I was lost in my own head and my own ego. And so a lot of it was self-inflicted. What's that term called? Wounds, self-inflicted. The word that always comes to mind is just ego, right? I was self-sabotaging. That's the phrase I'm looking for. And so I would self-sabotage myself a lot, whether in relationships, finances, business. And it was because there was just so much friction that didn't align with the way I wanted to live life. And so I wanted to force my way through. And so before that, I was in the wireless industry, tech sector. These are jobs, different various titles. But at the grand scheme of thing, I always tell everybody this, is that I just didn't know who I was. Right. And I think I still have that. I know who I am now, but I think we're all trying to figure out who we're going to be when we're going to grow up. And that definitely was the case for me. It's like, man, who do I want to be when I'm, 40, 50, 60? And so before Cecilia, before our marriage, before us meeting, man, I was just drifting. I was just a tumbleweed in the wind, and wherever I would go. And, I in my youth, I lived with a couple family members, right? And so that molded me into being, I think, more resilient than I needed to be. And my brothers, for some reason, they never. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this one. Is they always say I had it easy. I'm like, I don't think you were there for my childhood, for my teenage years and my 20s, because it was very challenging. I'm not talking about like gang violence and things like that, because that's not me. I'm talking about more of just the mental thing that we all, challenge ourselves, or again, self-sabotage ourselves too, because we don't know. And so, I've definitely been through the ringer for sure. Made some bad decisions, made some tough decisions. Ultimately, though, they all got me here where I'm at today. And so I definitely wouldn't change it for the world. I would have loved to have gotten here a lot sooner, right? I would have loved to have met her in my 20s. That would have been cool, right? A lot younger. Maybe we would have popped out some kids, a lot more kids or something. Between both of us, we have, we're a blended family. So she has 2 and I have 3. And so,
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it would have been cool.
Well, first and foremost, Frank, I just want to say thank you for your honesty, your transparency, and just being vulnerable just a few moments ago. As a gentleman who also went through a divorce, I haven't found my second yet. Still kind of figuring it out. A lot of what you just said resonated with me. So I'd like to ask you this. Sounds like you went through quite a bit, and there's a lot of discovery. And I want to highlight one thing that you mentioned about your brothers, how they kind of compared their experiences with yours and kind of devalued your experience. That's kind of why PropStream Pros was created. My whole perspective on it is that there's no two stories that are same, and every story is equally as important as the next story. So just the fact that you said that really resonated with me, and just wanted to highlight, your story, and those that might be experiencing that, they might be hearing from their loved ones that, what they're going through is not as important as so-and-so's experience. So thank you for sharing that. But let me ask you this. What was the course correction? What was it in life that took you from that to the amazing man that I see in front of me today, the person that I've known for the last 5+ years, that I've grown to fall in love with? What was the course correction in your life that brought you here today in front of us?
That's an easy one for me. It's Jesus Christ, right? So when I recommitted and got baptized as an adult, at that time, I felt washed anew, right? And so I committed myself to be a cleaner individual, meaning I'm not talking about sin. I'm just talking about just living a life worth living. And so obviously now we pray a lot. At that time, I didn't know how to pray. And so when I recommitted to my faith, not religion, right? To my faith, everything just kind of started gaining in line, because I was recommitted to myself, right? If you recommitted to him, you recommit to yourself as well. So that was definitely the pivotal moment for me, because I was tired of living the way I was, right? And going out and doing things I shouldn't be doing, right? Hanging around with the wrong people, making bad bonehead decisions, bank account always empty, right? Always stressed out, running on fumes. And so it was just, I was tired of living that way. And so I just went to where I know that I could be saved again. And that's what I did.
Thank you first and foremost for sharing a little bit of kind of the before, and here we are today. So you guys have been working at Inspired Buyers, or working together essentially, for about 6 years. I'd like to just bring something up. A few years ago, I was on Forbes.com and I saw this article, and it was the pros and cons of running a business with your romantic partner. But within that, there was something that I wanted to kind of ask you guys your perspective on it, maybe any tips or advice that you can give. But in this article, it talked about how to eventually separate that inevitable. And what they were referring to is that the emotions of being, a romantic couple, not like the romantic part, but like you guys are a couple and now you're in the same work environment. Do you have any tips on how you've managed making sure that both don't mix? Or maybe you guys do mix it. Maybe there's a way that you guys have blended it together so that, as you said earlier, Frank, things can progress forward. So I wanted to kind of just bring that to you. What are your thoughts or any advice that you'd like to give in terms of how you manage the relationship and working together? Frank, let's start with you.
So I'm going to be real, right? Anybody who gives you a polished answer is lying to you. So I'm first and foremost a man, right? And so I'm looking at her, I'm like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Thank you, God. And so at work, it's very hard for me to stay, I don't want to say hard, but it's, yeah, if I'm going to say, oh yeah, we just know how to separate and we just know how to segregate that, whatever, I can't even say that word because she's got me all flustered right now. I just saw her. Where I'm going with this is that I can't, it's not that I can't separate it. It's just like, I'm a guy, dude. I'm a guy. She's my wife. She's great looking. I was blessed to have her. It's going to slip every once in a while. She literally tells me this. I'm going to call and I'm going to let HR know. I'm going to tell HR. Yes. I'm going to report you to HR. And I'm just like, okay, go ahead. I'm HR. So, but all kidding aside, yeah, I mean, again, it took us a long time to figure it out. If I'm playing around too much, she'll tell me, right? She'll be like, "Hey, I got to focus.
Okay.
I'm like, "Okay, cool." She's like, "I got files to close. I got the closings to get going." I'm like, "All right, cool. Let me just turn that off and then let me be business Frank," right? So she used to make fun of me of this. She like business, 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 and so, but I don't know if that at that time she knew it was going to come into play now, because she always said I was always serious, and so now I think she understands my persona to where she understands, okay, it's business. And then there's Frank that just likes to play around and goof around with my beautiful bride. But when we're at work, yeah, I'd say it's 90%, 60% work. I'm kidding. It's about 90% work. It's about 85, 90% work. And then the other, I mean, again, I'm married to her. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She's smart. She's intelligent. So I'm going to enjoy what I've been given. So
I love that. And I love that you've personally identified your own internal switch from being able to go from Frank to business. And I'm sure that wasn't something that was just like immediate. That was something that was taught or learned over time. Cecilia, spotlight on you really quick. When it comes to that same topic, the inevitable, you guys are married, you guys are literally getting ready, you go to the office together. Any advice or things that you do to separate the two? Any advice that you could give to our audience members or things that you've experienced so far?
Yeah, I mean, he's right. I do want to call HR sometimes. But no, we know how to keep it very professional at work, especially since we have a lot of work to do and we have to get to work. So we do stay pretty focused when we're in office. And so something that we've kind of just done is, I go out and have lunch with my friends. It doesn't always have to be with Frank. Today we had lunch together, but we don't always have to be together. And it's good to separate sometimes, to just go, I'll have lunch with my mom or my sisters, or I'll have a few friends over. And so I kind of just also have my release, I guess, then, so that it's not always, we're not together 24/7. Because I tell him, I'm like, I go to work with you, I go home with you, I go to sleep with you, like an F, dude. But he knows that that's just our dynamic, and we've been happy this way.
yeah, it's
I
definitely,
love
yeah.
that. And oh no, go ahead, Frank. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I was just saying it works, right? It works, and the real tangible thing for your audience is people just need to know their role, right? So she's an expert at clearing title, messy, all that stuff, right? She's an expert at communicating with all parties. She's an expert at calming people down. So what does Frank do? I just shut up, get out of her way, let her handle her business because she's a professional while she's here, and I go do what I do best, which is build and scale our operation. And so we just have to know exactly what our roles are, and like everybody says, or everybody should do, is adopt their SOP, their job description, their role description, and just follow that. If it's not within your scope, just get out of the way, man. Because the more of it, if I was in her way, she would be frustrated. It would leak into our marriage. It would leak into our finances. It would leak into the business. And so I know that she's intelligent. She knows what to do. She knows her job function. She's got a handle on her team. She's got a handle on the sellers and the buyers. Cool. I'll just step back, let her handle it, and I'll just go do what I do best.
Reading between the lines, it's, hey, I trust this lovely woman outside of the workspace. She's my wife. I fully trust her. Why can't I trust her over here? So hands off, I'm going to have her do her thing. And as you can see, done an amazing thing. And I like that because Cecilia and Frank, you guys kind of touch on something I think a lot of people might have a perception on. So let's talk about that, those misconceptions that are out there. Cecilia, you mentioned it right off the bat. You guys don't necessarily have lunch every day together. And I think that's a healthy thing, right? Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are like, well, we must have lunch together. We're a couple together. But in your case, that's not always the case, right? There are moments where you guys just, hey, you do your own thing. I'm going to do my own thing. How is, in your point of view, or in your own words, how has that kind of helped you? You kind of mentioned a little bit, it kind of refills you, kind of gives you your space. But did that happen overnight, or was that something that you had experienced the ups and downs before? Hey, you do you, I do me.
Yeah, no, definitely not overnight. This has been a long time in the making. Just understanding that we need that space. Um, I'm a girl that needs space. Frank is a guy that always needs to connect. So he's always like, "Hey, let's connect, let's talk, let's do this." And I'm like, "Hold on, I need some time." And even just this past weekend, I was out. I was out of town for the weekend and it was just me and my son and he stayed home not because he didn't want to come or I didn't want him to come, but it's just life things happen. He needed to take care of some things at home and I was like, "Okay, see you later." And then, but that was good because now we have stories to tell each other. Hey, how was it for you? Hey, how was it for me? Um, it just, we don't run out of stories this way because if we're always together, then we're telling each other, the same thing. Because it used to be where, hey, how was your day? I don't know, you were there. So we had the same day. So now we have different days sometimes. So we're able to have different stories.
I just cry in my sleep when she says things like that.
That's okay. That's funny. Frank, anything you'd like to add to that? Like, I'm sure in your head, getting into a relationship, getting to the workspace with your wife here, you probably had some perspective of things, or maybe you've concluded. Are there any misconceptions that you'd like to silence now, being that you've worked with Cecilia for the last 6 years?
Yeah, first and foremost, if you come up to us, she is not Frank's wife. That is like, as soon as, so obviously I've been in the industry a lot longer. And so people would be like, come up to her and be like, "Oh, you're Frank's wife." And I would literally just turn around, about face, and just get out of there because to me, that's very, yeah, that's not cool. I know what they mean by intention, but it's just like, cool. She's not like my object or anything like that. She's just, she's her own person. So that's one, right? When you're meeting individuals, hey, so, just be, hey, you do this, do that. That's one. Second, I guess the misconception is that you have to agree on everything. We just discussed that, right? We have disagreements. Yeah, we have disagreements. We're both passionate, but at the end of the day, we have the same goal. We're on the same team. So that's a common one, that you have to agree on everything. You don't, because it just doesn't work. If you had a yes man in your corner, then yeah, that's cool. It's a hype man, right? You hire somebody for that to make you feel good. I don't need her to make me feel good. I need her to make us productive, flow with energy, have that feminine spirit, right? I want that in our office. Another misconception is that we have it all together. We got it on lockdown and we're like happy 24/7. Well, I mean, we're happy, but we got some stuff too, people, we're human beings. All marriages are, I don't want to say a living organism, but all marriages are fluid. So we have our challenges, but if you just take the time to address those challenges, or really all you have to do is hear them out, right? So that they don't boil up into something bigger. So just because what you see on front facing doesn't mean that it's all hunky dory for everybody, right? Just like business, marriages have challenges, but the saying goes, life is hard, or whatever, losing weight is hard, and so is being overweight, right? Or making money is hard, but so is being poor. So marriage is hard, so is divorce. Pick your hard, right? And so I like that saying. However, I choose not to do this hard anymore. I choose to do it in a flow state. So if you're going to get into your business with your spouse, make sure you have your clear roles. Make sure you have the clear expectations. Make sure you have who's going to make the decisions clearly. And then at the end of the day, just know that that person's literally on your side, on your same team. Y'all get to be passionate with each other. Y'all get to be confidants with each other. Y'all get to grow a business together, create a family, create money, be intimate, do all that crazy cool stuff behind the doors, right? So I mean, who else better than to help you than your actual partner in life? So, that would be something I'd like to make sure everybody knows.
I love that. Okay, I want to talk about something that was mentioned at the very beginning, and Cecilia, you mentioned it. It was regarding the on and off switch when it's after work hours, right? So like one of the biggest, I guess, challenges that you can think of when it comes to like a couple in any workforce is the boundaries. And I think the it's important to set up boundaries so that it doesn't, as we mentioned earlier, go beyond the office. In this case, we don't take it back to the dinner table. You mentioned earlier when that happens, because it's inevitable, sometimes it might spill over into the personal life. You mentioned when you're having that moment, Frank mentions whether, hey, do you need husband Frank or, COO Frank? That's interesting because I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration. I think when that's happening is it just spills over, and then all of a sudden we're at the dinner table and we're talking about business when that's probably the last thing that needs to be talked about. How did you guys adapt that strategy? Or like, if I could be honest with you guys, did you guys experience a moment where that wasn't in place, and then because of that moment, those fine lines needed to be drawn? And I'd like to get both of your perspectives on that. Frank, let's start with you. How did you come up with that, hey, do you need husband Frank right now, or do you need COO Frank strategy?
Well, there was this one time I was just crying in a corner, and I'm kidding.
He cries a lot.
I don't cry a lot. I want everybody thinking that. I'm pretty confident it was after a nice, passionate argument that we had, right? Where both parties just didn't feel seen or heard. And so we had to have that moment of, dude, what are we doing, man? Like, what's going on? I can't pinpoint it to a specific thing, but I feel that it was something along those lines, because obviously we all want to be seen and heard. And of course, I need to make sure I do that for her. And so I know for a fact that I wasn't giving her space to just vent, because as guys, we're problem solvers, and cool, she's giving me a problem. Let me solve. But that's not what we all need every single time, right? And so, it's just something that I think over time, after enough hitting your head on the wall so many times, we're just like, dude, just tell me what you need so I can do it. And the other party's like, well, I don't know what I need. And we're like, okay, cool. Well, let's figure this out, because we're just what we're doing is not working, and it's just causing us a lot of grief for something that should be so simple.
So essentially, through experience, through some, debates, healthy debates, that kind of led into the strategy implemented today. Cecilia, I'd like to ask you this. Since that strategy was implemented, being able to, separate the two, in this case, husband Frank and COO Frank, when you need that, what benefits came out of that? Like from your point of view, like since that was implemented, how have you seen that benefited? How have you seen the relationship benefit from that?
Having those conversations a whole lot easier, because then I don't always need him to solve a problem for me, because I'm big girl, I can solve it myself. But I just need that friend, that person to talk to me, to listen to me. And that's, like he said, it just developed over time. Because we were having these arguments, and I would tell him, hey, this and this happened, and I don't agree with it. And he would quickly, without even saying a word, just get on his phone, and he's already messaging the team like, dude, you guys can't do this, blah blah. And I was like, wait, they're gonna know I'm the snitch. So I'm like, no, I'm just venting. Like, I just need you to listen. I don't need you to do anything, just listen. And that just sort of came about, but it's made working together so much easier, and I'm able to just talk to him with, like, I want to say, like, a finesse. Like, he just kind of just now listens, and he's like, yeah, fuck that guy. So now he's on my side instead of like being my protector. You know what I mean? That it's just made everything so much
100%.
better.
Just in case the team's watching, it's not, I don't say F our team, it's external people, okay?
Yes, yeah.
So just make
We totally get that. That's exactly what I was reading. No, but I love that you guys mentioned that, because I'm guilty of this. I'm guilty of taking work home, right? And Frank, I kind of resonate with you. Like, I love to solve problems. When there's a problem, let's solve it, right? Like, why wait? Someone used to tell me, like, why put off what you can do today tomorrow? But that's not the case in this case, because the other person in the room is your wife. You're amazing. It's Cecilia here, and she's a person. She has her own challenges, her own needs. And I think this is very important, guys that are listening, couples that are listening, not every situation needs to be solved. Sometimes the situation just needs to be laid out on the table so that everyone can see it, talk about it, and go from there. Thank you for sharing that. You guys have no idea how valuable, in my personal opinion, that information was, and first and foremost, thanks for being transparent. Thanks for explaining this didn't just happen overnight. It was through some tough moments, in this case, some tough debates, that led us to create such a strategy, which has since benefited the relationship in a great way. So thank you guys so much for doing that. Can I ask you guys this is a question that I just thought about, and I think this is a question that's probably a reality. And if you guys want to address this in your own way, please let me know. But being that you guys are working together, right? You have two husband and wife working together in the same household, in the same business. How do you manage the con of having your entire household income tied to the fluctuation of that business? Is there any philosophy or any things that you're doing to negate that risk? For example, right? When I was in a relationship, when I was previously married, God, that was a long time ago. If I had lost my job, my ex-wife at the time would have something to lean back on, and vice versa. When she lost her job, she could lean back on me to support what needed to be supported at the time being. But that's not the case with you guys. You guys are kind of tied, right? So the success of the business ultimately determines the success of both you and Cecilia at the same time. What are things that you guys any advice that you guys can give to those that are listening to potentially negate any of those risks that could be present or that could potentially happen? Not that it is.
Yeah, just don't let the bank account hit zero. I'm kidding. Yeah, it's really going all in, right? So it's going all in yourself and your belief, right? If you're doing this half-assed, then you're going to get half-assed results. So this is our profession. This is literally what we do, right? Some people commute to go, do their corporate jobs, right? That's cool. That's great. That's phenomenal. This is our job. We have to look at it as our job. Are we entrepreneurs? Yeah, we're entrepreneurs, right? Because we can only capitalize on an opportunity that's in front of us. But how do we create that opportunity? Is we actually create that opportunity ourselves out of literally thin air, right? And so we're so vested in what we do. It also helps that we got a great person, supporting our endeavor, which is Mike, right? Mr. Hustle. And without him, we wouldn't have been able to expand to where we are today, right? I mean, that guy literally gave us a house that had over 100,000, over six figures in equity, right? He's like, here, it's your house. I was like, holy crap. It's nice. It's really nice. And when you have that, I don't want to say safety net, but when you have that inspiration or that backing by, yes, I get it. It's her and me, but also Mike's there to support us. And of course we consider him both our best friend. And so we've been through life together, and it's just, give me a second here. What's going on?
Oh,
it's really cool. It's really cool, right? So now here's a tactical thing. Is just allow the money to happen, man. Yes, be responsible. Don't make silly purchases. Don't go and investing in properties that you shouldn't be investing in. Don't take deals that just don't make sense and you're trying to force a deal, right? Always be aware of what's going on with your money. I'm not saying be a miser with your money. I'm saying just be aware. And the super, how do you supercharge that is you just allow it to flow. Allow the money to flow to you. I use this example. It's just have your hand like this, because the more we have this, right, is the more you're keeping money to yourself. Well, some people say I'm keeping money to myself. Well, I'm saying you're also keeping money from flowing in. And so the more you keep this open, you give money, you get money. The purpose of it is just to keep on going. So our economic situation is definitely a lot different than other people's. I'm sure other couples have big old spreadsheets and this and that. And we're just like, cool. How do we create more opportunity? How do we create more, how do we serve more people? And how do we just be genuine with these individuals that we've been trusted with so that we can create? And I'll tell you this, about a month or two ago, we needed X amount of dollars. I'll say we needed X amount of dollars, which was $20,000. I was like, I don't know. Let me just allow it to happen. Literally within 2 days, it just happened, right? And that's not a business thing, right? But I'm just talking to that person that feels so charged up to, man, I got to make it happen. I got to make it happen. No, man, just let it flow. And your spouse, especially with your spouse, you're talking with her, and just allow it to happen. Our income relies on real estate. Thankfully, we have multiple things in real estate that allow to feed us. And again, she's her own person. She goes and sources her own opportunities. I go source my own opportunities. We come together. We see what that opportunity looks like. And again, Mike's there to, of course, make sure that we're always, I don't want to say taken care of, but that if anything hits the fan, I know I got her. And then if it really, 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 really hits the fan, I got Mike in my back corner to help us both, right? So that's really cool.
Shout outs to Mike Honest. I'm Mr. Hustle, great human being, and I think it goes both ways. I think as you highlight, Mike being a guardian angel in your life and kind of helping you guys through the moments here and there, vice versa. I mean, I'm looking at two very knowledgeable individuals, two very powerful people in the real estate industry. And, Mike, I will say this, I'll be the first to say it. I'm sure he'll say it too, but I truly believe Michael's extremely lucky having you guys work under Inspired Buyers. But I love that the energy is reciprocated both ways. We're working passionately, we're working hard, not just as individuals, but as a married couple to make sure Inspired Buyers, stays where it's at and grow and get better, and then vice versa. That's very amazing. So thanks for sharing that. Cecilia, I'd like to get your thoughts on that. And I know you probably have some advice out there. What advice would you give to any couples out there to help negate, those risks, if you will, things essentially just evaporating and going up into thin air? Frank just mentioned, you kind of source your own deals and you bring it to the table. I absolutely love that. You guys are both entrepreneurs. You don't cage each other. You're like, hey, go do your thing and then bring it to the table and let's kind of look at it together in both lenses. Any other advice that you'd like to give out to the audience members, Cecilia?
Of course. So something that I've always told him is that money's an energy, right? It's always going to come and it's always going to go. All you got to do is just let it come and let it go. Don't be so hard on yourself when big bills come through, when tax season comes in. Be grateful that you're able to make those payments, that you're able, just let it go in greatness, right? Be grateful.
When you say money is an energy, because I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty of this, right? In my youth, I was very egotistical, self-centered, if you will, materialistic. I sometimes would look at other people's fences and see how green their grass was. I realized in those moments in my life, I struggled a lot more financially, either because I was trying to keep up with the Joneses, I was trying to be who I wasn't. And so for you to say, hey, I look at money as an energy, and, when you focus too much on trying to maintain, it's not going to work out well. And vice versa. It almost sounds like, obviously you don't want to give it all to the world. So there's like this delicate balance that you're mentioning. Was that something that you learned over time, or was that something that kind of just has always been in your mind? Like, hey, we just got to keep this balance as clean, as middle ground as possible. And like you said, money is going to just be there. So we can either focus on one side of the fence or just be right smack in the middle, right? We get to pay our bills and we get to earn the money that we need to do so. Where did that come about?
Well, that's something that I learned over time. When I was younger, I was a young mom. And so I was on my own a lot with just my two. And so I learned to live in being thankful for having what I had, for being able to pay for what I could. And so that kind of just always came with me, and I would just let it flow. If it was for me, it's for me. If it's not, it's not. And I didn't used to be materialistic. I enjoy having things, and I like having the newest, shoe, newest purse, newest things. Don't forget Valentine's Day is coming. And I do enjoy those things, but I still receive them in gratefulness. So it's just something that I like to tell the kids also, just let it go. And there's a lot of freedom in letting things go, not worrying about, oh man, I had to pay so many bills and now I'm back to very close to being at zero. Okay, but you paid it. You're good. Everything is so good. And that's something that I think it was a rough lesson on him, because he felt in need when we had just taken care of everything that we needed. And I said, so it's an energy. It's going to come. The universe is never going to let you go without. You're always going to have exactly what you need.
That is a great answer. And Cecilia, I agree with you. I truly believe in karma as a person. I believe what you put out there in the world will eventually come back. So the type of energy you release is the type of energy that's going to come at you double fold. And it sounds like you've learned that through your experiences in life. And here we are today. I mean, you guys, I honestly look at both of you guys as very successful individuals in the real estate space. And to just see that's the energy that you put out there. And it's great because I say this from my personal experience. I remember the first time going to an event in San Antonio and meeting both of you guys, together. You guys were just from the get-go positive. And then fast forward, half a decade, here we are. It's just this positivity that just keeps spinning between us three. And you easily could not have done that, and that first encounter could have just been a whole different experience. And we probably wouldn't be here today. So I like how you've taken that energy, not just in life, but you've also applied it to the financial part of your life. That's amazing. And I think that's great advice for our audience members. And so listeners, if you're feeling charitable, listen to Cecilia here. Go do it. Go do it. You'd be surprised, the type of energy that comes right back at you. So, all right. Well, I know you guys have a busy day ahead of you, and I don't want to take too much of your time. So I just want to wrap it up by giving you guys each an open mic. Cecilia, let's start with you, right? We have possibly tons of real estate couples that are listening, or people that are probably going to dive into either a real estate business together with their significant other, or maybe a different business out there. What advice would you give, or what words of advice, or what would you like to say to those that are either in or about to jump into that venture together with their significant other?
A good piece of advice for me is keep your friends. Keep your friends. You don't have to do everything together. And
I get it. We're not going out.
Oh
Okay?
my God. Okay, it's not like that, but it is like that. And he also needs friends. No, he has friends. But just keep your friends, go out, vent, do all the things. Keep your friends.
I love that. Good advice. No, and I think this is important. I think throughout the conversation, one thing to understand is being able to maintain that individuality, right? Your self-identity. Because yes, I mean, in your particular case, guys, let's be honest, it's 24 hours, right? You wake up, go to the same office, you do your 8 hours there, and then we go back to the same household, and we live the rest of our hours throughout that day together. So to be able to maintain that self-identity, to be able to contain those, or to create these boundaries to where, hey, I need my me time. I think that's very important. I do believe a lot of people need to hear that, because I'm almost 100% certain there are people that are listening right now that haven't experienced what you guys have experienced. And so I hate for them to have to go through that. It's best maybe they listen to this or get, if anything, get out of this, establish those boundaries. Frank, I'd like to ask you the same question. Any advice words of wisdom that you'd like to give out to any of those couples that are about to jump into a business together or already in business together? Anything that you've learned, anything that you've experienced that, hey, let's just kind of put that out there and hopefully someone takes it?
Yeah, for sure. And so I want to preface this that as of today, we're happily married. I'm kidding. No, so this message is for the female audience, right? Is a man, I don't know if you're a man, but a man, in my opinion, needs the validation sometimes, right? And so he needs to be validated. So encouragement goes a long way for a man who's feeling down in the dumps, because our industry is a lot of rejection, right? We're in sales and marketing with real estate embedded in a little bit. Encouragements, words of affirmation really, really go a long ways with that man. Respect, of course, right? Obviously, all of this is a two-way street. I'm just telling you that a woman can inspire, motivate a man to literally just go to war for her, right? The face that launched 1,000 ships, right? There's that Trojan horse story. And so it's that thing that if you empower your man, he's going to go and figure it out one way or the other. And now for the men, it's allow your woman to still be soft and gentle. Just because we're in the business doesn't mean that you have to be like on 24/7 about business and numbers. And I can't believe this person rejected me. Cool. Like Cecilia was saying, vent, but don't take it out on your partner, right? Ultimately your partner, because this thing can be really easy, right? And so in our early part of our career, we struggled a lot because we just didn't know. We just didn't know how to be one business partners or just a partner. And so as we keep on growing and I get older, she stays the same age. There's a little bit of wisdom that comes along with all that. So men, just allow your spouse, your partner, allow her to do her thing, man. She's going to surprise you, and she's probably going to do a better job than you, just to be transparent with you. And your job is just to focus on what you're laser focused good on, and just go take care of business. If I was giving advice to my boys, my children, my girls, I would just say, just make sure you're happy. Just make sure that at the end of the day, you're just ultimately happy with the decisions you've made to get to this point in business, right? Because we're talking about business. And make sure that all those decisions that you're doing in business, one, don't sacrifice your integrity, keep you honorable, and of course, always provide a solution for those people that we're serving. So as long as you do all that at the frame of it, or at the foundation of it, you're going to be happy. And so both parties have to be happy. Just like when you're making an offer to a seller, it has to make sense for them for it to make sense for us, right? So both parties are agreeing to be happy and exchange of value, which is they're selling us a property at a discount and we're giving them a boatload of cash. We're not taking away a house for free. We're giving them a boatload of cash so that they can exit the deal with speed and convenience, right? So it's just, I'm just wanting to bring it all full circle so that the audience knows.
That's how you viewed marriage?
That's how you view marriage. And if you buy my 5-step process today, I will show you how to how you too can get your wife to want friends.
That's hilarious. I love it. And first off, guys, I want to thank you so much for sharing everything you've shared in today's episode. You guys are fun. I mean, again, I've personally get to experience who you guys are as human beings outside of this episode. I've had my experience with you guys, or tenure in terms of our friendship. You guys are some really, really awesome people. Now, for the listeners, though, right? Maybe they fell in love with you guys during the podcast. How can they get a hold of you guys? Frank, would you like to start? Is there a best way for our viewers to get a hold of you?
Don't fall in love with Cecilia. Okay, she's spoken for. So no, fall in love with her. There's a lot to love with her about her. She's a free giving with knowledge of wealth of information. But if you want to find myself, it's at Real Frank Tovar on Instagram. Or if you want to be a little bit more intense and you need somebody to hold your hand through wholesaling, fix and flip, and subject to, hustleacademy.com. That's hustleacademy.com. We go in there, we dive deep. We're going to have Burton on there. He's going to be wonderful and teaching us all about PropStream and all his friends as well. So we'll be in there, hustleacademy.com. And then, of course, we have our monthly meetup here in San Antonio at the Norris Center. That's the last Thursday of every month. We talk about fix and flip, wholesaling, subject to. We pick one of those topics and we go deep into that. And I would love to shake your hand, introduce Cecilia to you. That way we can become close friends as well.
I love that. Cecilia, how about you? I'm sure our audience members are probably going to want to learn a little bit more about you. You gave some really great advice and words of wisdoms for the couples out there. What's the best way for our viewers to get a hold of you?
Thank you. Yeah, so for me, it's just Instagram, Cecilia Coordinates. That's my handle. And obviously, I'm there at the meetups as well.
Yeah, her phone number is 210.
Whoa. Stop. No, you guys are amazing. And shout outs to Hustle Academy. First and foremost, yes, we're definitely going to be working with them. We're going to be sharing a lot of the knowledge here at PropStream with their students to help people better kind of decipher the complexity of data. But if I could admit, I'm also a student of Hustle Academy. I enrolled, and the reason I enrolled is, man, I love learning. I don't know about you guys who are listening, but there's just something about constantly learning. It makes me feel like a child. And one thing I like about Hustle Academy is how Frank, Cecilia, and Mike and the entire staff there make complex strategies, such strategies like Subject to, easier to understand. I can't emphasize enough. Those that are listening, I would encourage you to just look into it. Very powerful information that the Hustle Academy has, but more importantly, the people that operate. They're just great people. You should check it out. Frank, Cecilia, man, this was such an awesome episode. Thank you guys so much for giving us your time. Can we hopefully do a follow-up in the future and get you guys back on here perhaps?
Yeah,
That'd
of
be
course.
fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be.
I would love that.
She'll bring her friends, and I'll be outside doing something. So, absolutely.
That might be a thing. You never know. We might just have a solo episode with Cecilia, then one for you, Frank, and kind of go from there. But joking aside, I'd love to have you guys both together. We can do maybe a future follow up. Let people know how things are going. Maybe any experiences or things you've learned along the way that you'd like to share. I think that would be very valuable. But until next time, thank you, viewers and listeners. My name is Burton, and make sure to check in for another episode of PropStream Pros in the future. But until then, have a wonderful day.
Thanks for tuning in to the PropStream Pros podcast. Subscribe for weekly insights and real strategies to help you close more deals. See you next time.